Hello, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm extremely excited to be here. I am looking at this background, trying to make sure that it's okay, perfect. So thank you so much again. I'm very excited to be here. Last year I was actually here. Fun fact: I was actually pitching last year. So since that time, I've actually learned a lot, been through a lot, honestly, and I'm excited to be back here to share with everyone today. So again, my name is ShaKeia Kegler. I'm the founder and CEO of GovLia. GovLia is a business to government marketplace where we focus on simplifying supplier diversity for state and local government agencies. And actually getting into this space, I was serving active duty military where I purchased supplies on behalf of my department. And that was pretty much how I got into this space. So today I'll be sharing with you the top 3 things I wish I knew before starting GovLia. And full disclosure, I have made many mistakes, and most of them were surrounding technology, me not utilizing my network enough, and the aspect of me just being overly ambitious. So one of the lessons I learned was actually in the idea phase of the business. And I don't have any slides to share because this is more of a story, and I want it to be extremely intimate, and of course, for us to be able to like draw conclusions based off of everything that has happened during this literally just one segment of the growth and startup of the business. So one of the lessons that I had the opportunity was learn was prior to starting the business. This was actually in the idea phase of business. I was going through a startup program here in Broward County called Broward Startup Now. It was a program with Broward College, and the first lesson that I would say is, because you are starting a business, focus on making money first. And this involves doing things that don't scale. This involves doing things such as consulting work, which was one of the things that my mentor and my instructor actually expressed that I should do in order to focus on generating revenue for the business up front. Because that was one way that we would have been able to generate revenue immediately based off of my experience and knowledge in this space. But of course, I was so fixated and infatuated with the idea of developing a software platform. And mind you, I had zero background in technology prior to starting GovLia. So that within itself was already an insane idea. So this is actually where the story gets a tad bit rocky. So the first the first year, I ended up winning a pitch competition with Grace Hopper Celebration, and it was an opportunity out of this world at the Grace Hopper Celebration, because they had a pitch competition called Pitch Her, and the grant prize was $25,000. Is non-refundable, no refund. You don't have to pay any of this money back. It's literally a grant. So I was extremely excited because that put me in a position to where I could actually focus on the development of the software without without harping on how I was going to have the money to actually develop the platform. So I did what any normal person or any person who had no idea what to do with technology would do. I went on Fiverr to find someone who could actually help me develop the platform, and outsourced to some vendors who said that they had the knowledge. They said that they could get the work done. And we started the project. So this is already tapping into lesson number 2. Invest money and qualify people early, and find ways to barter services or skills if you don't necessarily have the capital to pay for it. Another thing about starting a business, your first startup, anyhow, is most of the time we are bootstrapping, and that means we are scrapped for cash. So we're always trying to find ways to work around it or try to find the cheaper routes to get things done. Bartering services is an opportunity for you to take advantage of leveraging your experiences and your skills, your services, to actually have someone who will be able to support you with the services that you need help with, right? So that's one. But I think we also get lost in the idea of bootstrapping and not realizing that bootstrapping doesn't mean not spending money. It just means being extremely focused and spending money in the right places. or you'll run into problems like I did in the next phase of this story. And after finding a few vendors on Fiverr, ended up going through the process, and we got an estimate, over 5 estimates. One of them was 100,000. One of them was 50,000. We had one for 15,000, and then we had one for 16. I mean for 6,000. So of course, guess what? Which one I went with? The one that was $6,000, because the focus for me was, let's do this fast, let's do this quickly, and that I felt like that was the fastest and the cheapest route for us to get the MVP done. And of course, this was just the estimate. So at that $6,000 mark, they presented a what was supposed to be the MVP based off of the scope and everything that I had provided to them. And of course, with my lack of knowledge and background in this space, I didn't share the information properly to allow them to develop the platform. Or maybe this is just exactly what they thought would be the best route and approach to do this. So, needless to say, that $6,000 was spent on just the idea and the concept. And we had to continue to work to develop this platform to become exactly what my customers needed it to be. So by the time we got down to the final pricing, I had ended up spending $18,000 on $18,900 actually on this platform, on this MVP. And for one, we had already exhausted we had already exhausted most of the resources from that $25,000 grant, because majority of it has been spent on the technology aspect of it. So we didn't have a lot of wiggle room in terms of paying for marketing, doing outreach work, bringing someone on who will be able to help with, other tasks, because I was actually taking on a lot of this work. So this brings me to the next point. Do not over exceed yourself. And our last speaker spoke about this. Burnout is real. Burnout is very real. And the last thing you want to do is overextend yourself, because it doesn't allow you to be productive at the end of the day. So that is the third note for this one. So we get back into it. Now the MVP is complete. And the next phase of business is starting a pilot or running a beta test with a few organizations locally. So I started a pilot with a local city. And we sat down, got all the information together about getting the small business vendors on board on the platform. We created profiles for their vendors, and we end up basically getting everything set up in the system for the organization to utilize the system. So they began utilizing it. We got a lot of data. Well, we got some good data points back based off of just initial feedback and conversation. So after about 4 weeks of utilizing the systems, we started experiencing a few glitches here and there. Sometimes information wouldn't save in the platform, or we would have some issues as it relates to vendors not being able to sign in or not receiving the activation for their profile, the notification to activate their profile. So those were the first few steps of things not working out. So then I started reaching out to find a different vendor, because they were actually trying to charge more money, like extra, like increase their rates. They wanted to increase their rates on the pricing in order to get the things that we need to be fixed within the platform. So I was like, okay, cool. I was actually just try to start working with some different vendors, because now, they're increasing their rates and the platform is already crashing. It's already breaking, and we haven't even had the platform to scale to the idea of where we are looking to go. So I said, let me get someone else who can do this. And just before I was able to find someone, the platform completely crashed. Like crashed. Like you couldn't even log into the site. Although I had everything in the GitHub repository, and that was about as much as I was able to figure out. But I was actively in the process of developing the platform and the business, trying to learn more about software, about technology, learning how to code. I actually took the opportunity to learn how to do that as well. So I was learning within the process, and I realized that there were different steps that they were not taking. So the platform crashed. And at this point, I was like, wow, I had no idea what to do next because we actively were working on a pilot, literally with a city. And it was insane. So this brings me to my crossroad. What was I to do next? I had no idea what to do. Like I said, I was managing everything practically by myself, and I was the operations, I was everything at the company. I was everything for the company. So the next thing that I would say, the lesson that I learned in this space of being alone and vulnerable is to ask for help. And it's you'd be very surprised at the number of people who are actually willing to help you and the people who want to see you succeed. Like that was one thing as well. There are a lot of people who are just rooting for you and you have no idea. So in the beginning of the speech, I talked about not utilizing my network to its true potential. That's one thing that I really want to encourage you to do early on. Ask people for help. Go out, and when you're at these different events, different networking events, talking to different people, make sure that you're connecting and developing meaningful connections to expand that network, to expand the number of people that you'll be able to support if someone was ever in a position to where they needed your support. So that's one thing that I say. Basically, ensuring that you are utilizing your network to its full potential. And as a first time founder, sometimes it's hard to actually ask someone for help or go out and basically because it's admitting that, this is your first time, you don't know what you're doing, and it's okay because none of us know what we're doing unless you've done this before. So as a first time founder, it's impossible for you to know exactly every step for you to take. It's impossible for you to know exactly what you need to do for your particular business because everyone's 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 new to this. No one has done this before unless well, a first timer can't do it previously. Let's put it that way. So this is your chance to actually, utilize that network and also be there and be that supportive services for someone else. So I had gotten to this point where the platform was broken. I had no money. I had no idea what to do. So I ended up asking for support from two friends that I actually went through a program with. So with the first one, I reached out, got some information because they're slightly technical. I knew they were a lot more technical than I was. So I wanted to reach out to get some feedback based off of what do they think needs to be done with the platform, or how do I fix this problem? That's it. That's the answer right there. Or the question, how do I fix this problem? Right. And we went through the platform, we went through the back end of it, and they basically told me this system is beyond repair. And of course, for me, I was like, I could not believe that. Like, what do you mean it's beyond repair? So I went to get a second opinion just because, like, just to be on the safe side. Because remember, I had spent $18,000 on this platform and I had no idea what to do next. So I went to another person who is completely like the technology background is full stack developer and everything. So got the same exact answer. And I had no idea what to do. I was broke. I was embarrassed. And at this point, the only option for me was to give up on GovLia, go find a job and find some way to actually fund the work that I was doing. So I began to barter services with one of the technical individuals who helped me through this process. And we were able to develop an MVP, launch the MVP, and then actually get clients in the process. But to make money in the meantime, you'll never guess what I end up doing. I end up going back and doing the consulting work that my instructor told me to do in the beginning. So remember, sometimes you have to do things that don't scale be sure to utilize your network and always, and don't forget to ask questions. And also, make sure that you are spending money in the right places. So, those are the lessons that I wanted to share. And again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am also available through all social mediums if you just wanted to connect, have a conversation. Again, because I've been through a few different things with my business, with the things that I'm doing, of course, I'm going to be here to support and help someone else in the process. So, um, it's just ShaKeia Kegler across all platforms and mediums. And I look forward to connecting with all of you. Good luck with everything.